Welcome to the Book of Balance podcast, where real stories meet real numbers. I'm your host, Patricia Oholeguy, your bookkeeper and believer that business should serve your life, not consume it. Each week, we sit down with entrepreneurs who've built their dreams from scratch and learned to balance their books, their boundaries, and their energy along the way. Ready to turn the page on financial stress and write your own story of clarity? Let's dive in. Welcome back to the Book of Balance. I'm Patricia Oholeguy. I'm your host, and today we're talking about something that I know keeps a lot of you up at night: how to set boundaries as a service provider without feeling like you're being difficult or losing clients. If you listened to the last episode with Laura Burgess, the hairstylist from California, you heard her talk about something really important. She said she used to share her salon space with someone else and it didn't work out because that person didn't respect her space. She came in one day and it looked like her cabinet had thrown up. Stuff was everywhere, spilling into Laura's organized, clean area. And Laura made a decision right then. She wasn't going to share her space with anyone anymore. She moved to working from her own property by herself on her own terms. And you know what? Her business didn't suffer, it thrived. Because here's the thing: boundaries don't push good clients away, they attract them. Today, I'm going to walk you through exactly how to protect your peace as a service provider. We're covering cancellation policies, deposit strategies, and the exact words you need to know when you're having those uncomfortable conversations with clients who push back. This isn't about being mean. This isn't about being difficult. This is about building a business that doesn't drain you, burn you out, or leave you resentful over the very clients you're supposed to be serving. So let's get into it. Let me start by saying this: if you don't have clear boundaries in your service business, you don't have a business. You have a hobby that's stressing you out. Simple as that. I see this all the time with service providers, coaches who let clients reschedule 5 times without consequence, consultants who answer emails at 10 p.m. because they don't want to seem unavailable, bookkeepers, yes, even in me in the beginning, who let clients miss deadlines and then expect work to be done overnight. And hairstylist, Laura talked about this in our interview. She has clients come in with pictures from Pinterest expecting her to turn their jet black hair into platinum blonde in only 3 hours for $300. And when the persons they're showing the pictures is actually charging $5,000 and it takes them 12 hours. So those are not just unrealistic expectations. That's a boundary problem because if you don't clearly communicate what you can't and cannot do, clients will fill the gaps with whatever fantasy they've created in their heads. And let's be really clear about what boundaries cost you when you don't have them. First, they cost you money. Every time someone cancels last minute and you don't have a cancellation policy, that's money you can't recover. That's time slot you could have given to someone else. That's income gone. I had a client years ago before I wised up who would book a clarity session with me and then cancel the morning off every single time. 3 times this happened. And every time I said, "Oh, no problem. Let me know when you want to reschedule." And I didn't think much of it. But you know what happened? She kept doing it because there was no consequence. So, second, boundaries are also costing you time. When you don't have clear policies about communication, clients will text you at all hours. They'll expect you to be available on weekends and they'll assume you can squeeze them into real quick, even though you're fully booked. Laura talked about this too. She doesn't like working weekends, but if she needs to, she does. That's her boundary. She's choosing when to make exceptions, not letting clients demand it. And third, and this is the big one, boundaries cost you your peace. And when you lose your peace, you also start resenting your clients. You burn out, and eventually you either quit or you become the kind of business owner who's bitter and exhausted all the time. And I don't want that for people. And I know you don't want that for yourself either. So let's talk about how to actually set boundaries that work. All right, so here's where we get practical. If you're a service provider, and I don't care if you're doing hair or coaching and consulting, bookkeeping, or a photographer, whatever, there are three policies you need to have in place starting today. Number one, a clear cancellation and rescheduled policy. This is the big one. You need a policy that says how much notice clients need to give you if they want to cancel or reschedule without penalty. Here's what I recommend: 48 hours minimum. Some industries do 24, but I think 48 is better because it gives you a real shot at filling that slot with someone else. Your policy should say something like, these cancellations or rescheduled with less than 48 hours notice will be charged 50% of the service fee. No shows will be charged 100%. Now, I know you're thinking, Patricia, that sounds harsh. What if someone has an emergency? But here's the truth: true emergencies are rare, and when they happen, you can make exceptions. But if you don't have a policy in place, everything becomes an emergency. The client's kid has a soccer game, their friends invited them to lunch, they're just not feeling it today. Those aren't emergencies, those are choices, and those are choices that cost you money. Laura mentioned in our interview that she lost a client during COVID because she didn't share the same views, and it was hard for the client to sit in a chair and hear all about it. You know what? That client came back a year later because Laura created a safe space and was willing to adjust. But the key is, Laura didn't chase, she had boundaries, and she was respectful but clear. When you have a cancellation policy and you enforce it consistently, clients respect your time, and the ones who don't, they're just not your ideal clients, anyways. So, number two, deposits should be a requirement to book on a session. So, let me say this loud and clear for those people who are just not paying attention. If you're not requiring deposits, you're running a charity, not a business. I don't care if you've been doing business for 1 year, 20 years. If someone wants to be booked with you, they need to put money down. And here's why: a deposit creates commitment. When someone has skin in the game, they show up. When it's free to book and free to cancel, there's no incentive to honor that commitment. So, how much should you charge? I recommend from 20 to 50% of the total service cost. For my clarity sessions that I meet for my clients for 1 hour, I actually require 100% upfront. They have to pay the $127 fee prior to scheduling that 1 hour session, because sometimes we even go a little longer than that. And for ongoing bookkeeping clients, I require the first month's payment on the first before I start any of the work. And guess what? I never have a serious clients push back on that. Never. The only people who have a problem with deposits are the people who weren't going to be good clients anyways. If someone says, I'm not sure I want to put money down before I know if it's a good fit, you can say, I completely understand. The deposit ensures we're both committed to this time. If it's not a good fit, we'll know in the first session and we can part ways. But this protects both of your times. And done. And if it doesn't work, you guys move on. Number three, clear scope and expectations before you start. This one is huge, and it's where I see service providers get into the most trouble. You need to be crystal clear before the client's book because money changes hands and about what's included and what is not. For me as a bookkeeper, that means being clear that a monthly bookkeeping package includes reconciliations, categorizing transactions, and financial reports. It does not include tax filing. It does not include year end cleanups or 3 years of backlog mess. If they want that, it's a separate project with a separate pricing. For Laura, that means being clear that if you want to go from jet black to platinum, it's going to take multiple sessions over several months, not just one appointment. When you're vague about what's included, clients will assume everything is included. And then you're stuck either doing work you're not being paid for or having an awkward conversation when you have to say, actually, that's extra. So save yourself the headache and be clear up front. Now you have your policies in place. So now what happens when you actually have to enforce them? This is the most service provider freeze up ever because we're nice people. We care about our clients. We don't want to seem difficult or are money hungry. But here's what I need you to understand: enforcing these boundaries is not mean, it's professional. When a client cancels last minute, you don't apologize for your policy. You state it's a clear and you give them options. You acknowledge that things come up, you reference your 48-hour policy, and you let them know that there will be a cancellation fee. Then you ask if they want to reschedule or process the cancellation. Simple, direct, and professional. There's not more to it. When someone pushes back on your deposit requirement, you explain that it holds their spot and ensures you're both committed to the time. You remind them the deposit is applied to their total and that they're not paying anything extra. If they keep pushing, you can clarify that this is a standard in your business and it protects both of you. And if they still won't do it, let them go. Someone who won't commit to a deposit is very likely to cancel or no show, anyways. So when a client wants something outside of your scope, you just don't say yes to keep them happy. You acknowledge that you love to help them with that, but it's outside of what you had agreed to. You offer to add it as a separate service and send pricing. You're not saying no, you're saying yes, and here's what that costs. When a client gets upset about our policies and tells you other providers don't do that way, you stay calm. You acknowledge that different businesses have different policies, and you explain that yours allows you to serve your commitment clients better and keep your schedules filled with people who value the time you have set aside. If it doesn't work for them, you're happy to recommend someone who might be a better fit. You're not begging them to stay, you're standing firm. Now, when true emergencies happen, and they do, you can absolutely make exceptions. A sick kid, a death in the family, a real crisis. In those cases, you can tell them not to worry about the cancellation fee right now, to take care of it when they need to, and reach out when you're ready to reschedule. That's compassion. That's being human. But the key is you're choosing to waive the fee. You're not letting the client demand it. You make exceptions, case by case, not as a blanket rule. So here's the thing that most people don't understand about boundaries: they just don't protect you, they protect your best clients. When you let one client constantly reschedule or demand a last minute availability, you're taking time and energy away from the clients who do respect your boundaries. You're letting the wrong people dictate your schedule. Laura said something in our interview that really stuck with me. She said she chose not to have employees or share her space because it protects her peace. And because she has that peace, she can show up fully for her clients. She can create the safe, comfortable space where people bring their dogs and show up in pajamas. That doesn't happen if she's stressed, resentful, and burnt down because she's letting people walk all over her boundaries. The same is true for you. When you protect your peace, you show up better, you're more present, you're more creative, and you have more to give. Your clients, they don't want you burn out. They want you at your best. And they're willing to respect your boundaries to make that happen. So stop thinking about boundaries as something that pushes clients away. Start thinking of them as something that creates space for the right clients to thrive. So let me give you this. Laura talked about how she, at that point in her business where she had enough work but not enough time to go out and network for more clients. She's in this limbo where she's busy but not growing. And you know what her solution was? Add a high value service, extensions, so she can increase revenue without adding more clients. Now that's smart. But here's what's even smarter: she's not sacrificing her peace to do it. She's not taking on clients who drain her. She's not working 7 days a week to make it happen. She's building a business on her terms. And that's what I want for all of you. You don't have to serve everyone, you don't have to say yes to every client, and you don't have to be available 24/7. You get to decide who works for you. How do you do the work? How do you work with them? And what boundaries you need to protect your peace. And when you do that, your business gets stronger. Your best clients get better service, and you actually enjoy what you're doing again. So here's what I want you to think this week. Pick one boundary you need to set, just one. Maybe it's implementing a deposit policy. Maybe it's updating your cancellation terms. Maybe it's having a conversation with the clients who keep pushing your limits. Pick one, set it, enforce it. If you need someone to help you figure it out, what your policies should be, how to communicate them, and how to build a business that doesn't drain you, book a clarity session with me and we'll map it out together. You can find the link on the show notes. So stop letting your business run you. It's time to control it. And thanks for listening to the Book of Balance. If this resonated with you, share with another service provider who needs to hear it. And I'll see you all next week. In the meantime, stay focused, stay balanced, and steer your ship with clarity. Thank you for joining me for today's episode of the Book of Balance podcast. I hope you enjoyed our conversation and found value in the insights we shared. Make sure you subscribe so you never miss a future episode. And as promised during the show, you'll also find a link in the description with today's guest information, website links, and all the mentions we talked about during the episode. And if you're a do-it-yourself entrepreneur, you can join the Clarity Compass method at claritycompassllc.com. It's a monthly subscription where business owners like you dedicate just 1 hour each week to work in their books, get their questions answered, and stay consistent with their support of a community committed to financial clarity. Now, if you'd like to connect with me personally, head on to my website, oholeguy.com, to schedule your complimentary 15-minute consultation. It's the perfect way to get your personalized bookkeeping questions answered and explore how the white glove services can support your business. And on the last note, remember, we are not lawyers or financial advisors. Everything shared here reflects our professional opinions and is provided solely for educational purposes and entertainment purposes only. So thanks again for listening, and until next time, keep your compass set on clarity.